1. Prem se Samapati Mahadeva ki jai, Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. As we begin this beautiful afternoon, we take this golden opportunity as we welcome all. We say Swagatam, Namaskar, Jai Sitaram to all devotees. We've come together in this beautiful home tonight once more on this, the 8th session of devotion, where we praise our Lord Bhagavan Gopal for once more having a wonderful soul, a son in our lives. But as he's left and he has gone once more to the hands of our Lord, we begin this night with devotion as we pay pranams. As we're about to begin, let me invite everybody to sit upright for a moment. Let us all close our eyes so that we can begin with devotional prayer. We can begin with mantras and invocation. Oh. Partaya pratibhuritam bhagavata Narayanena swayam Vyasena garchitam purana munina Madhye mahabharatam Advaitamrita varashini bhagavate Ashtadashadhyayani Ambatva manasandadhami Bhagavad-gite Bhavarveshani Namostute Vyasa Vishalavinde Kularvindraya Tapatra Netraha Yenatvaya Bharata Talapurnaha Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradeepaha Prapanna Parijataya Totravetraya Kapane Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gitamritaduhe Namaha Sarva Upanishado Gavo Dugdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vajasudir Bhota Bhogam Gitamritam Mahatam Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsajanuramardanam Devake Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru Bhishmatro Natatacha Tatajala Gandharanilotpala Shalyagrahavati Kripena Vahani Karnina Vilakula Ashvatthama Vikarna Gormakara Duryodhana Vartini Sutirna Kalupandavai Naranadi Kaivartaka Keshava Parashariya Vacha Sarojamamalam Gita Gandottatam Nanakyanaka Kesaram Harikatha Sambhurna Bhoritam Loke Sajjana Shatparera Pepe Yamanam Mudam Bhuyar Bharata Pankajam Kalimalam Prajvamsana Shreyase Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langete Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Martaha Stunvantiri Vaisrave Vede Sangha Padakramo Panishade Gayantyam Samaga Jnanavasti Tatargate Namanasa Pashyantyam Yogino Yasyantam Navirusura Surgana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. As we begin this beautiful night, we join in 40 verses of the Sri Hanuman Chalisa, where we praise our Lord, the Lord of strength, the Lord of power, the Lord of virtues and courage. As we invite our Lord to guide us, this home and this parivar, this family, we've been going through a hard time from the loss of their wonderful child. And while we've come tonight to glorify your name, Lord, may you give us all the mental strength, the emotional strength, that spiritual and physical strength so that we can rise above whatever troubles, whatever mental afflictions may be in our path. May you give us the strength to once more live and to continue with your glory. Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raj Nijamana Mukara Sudha Varna Raghuvara Vimala Jasu Judaya Kupalata Buddhihina Tanu Janike Sumira Pavan Kumar Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Muhi Arahu Kalesha Vigan Jai Hanuman Gyan Gun Sagar Jai Kapesa Jivu Lota Ujagar Ram Dota Tulka Baladhama Anjay Putra Pavan Sutanam Mahavira Vikaram Majarange Kumati Niva Kumati Ke Sange Kantana Varana Viraj Suresa Kanana Kundala Kundit Kesa Hata Vatra Aura Dvaja Viraja Kamyamu Rajneo Asada Shankara Suvana Kesare Nandan Vidya Pratapa Mahajagavandan Vidyavana Guni Ati Chatur Ram Kaj Karve Ko Vatur Prabhu Charitra Suni Beko Rasiyan Ram Lakhan Sita Manabasiya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Rupa Darisiya Hidikawa Vikata Rupa Dhanamajagawa Bhima Rupa Dhariya Surasanhare Ramchandra Ke Raj Savari Jai Sajivana Lakhan Jayaye Shri Raghuveer Har Sieuraj Raghupati Kini Bahut Baraye Tumam Priya Bhartai Samabhai Sahasavadan Dasavadan Tumaro Rasanara Sanare Priya Pati Kandalanare Sargadika Brahmadi Munisha Narad Sarad Dadahi Yam Tu Veda Digapala Jahate Kadi Kovid Kaisake Kahate Tumoko Ka Sudeva Hi Kena Ramamralaya Raja Paradev Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Om Namo Narayana Namaha तुम्हारो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जान युग सहस्त्र योजन पर भानु धीरताहि मधुर फल जान प्रभो मोद्रिका मिल मुख माहि जल दिलांग अजर जनाय दुर्गम का जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे राम द्वारे तुम रखवारे हो तन आज्ञा हृदय सारे सब सकल है तुम्हारे चरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आप जिनहु लो कांत ते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे पर राम तपस्वी राजा, जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा, और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, तुई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों युग प्रताप तुम्हारा है, प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा, साधु संत के तुम रखवार, असुर निकंदन राम दुलार। अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता, असवर दी जानकी माता, राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दास। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, राम हरे राम राम राम। राधे गोविंदा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे, अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाय। जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाय, और देवता चित्त न डरहि, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करहि। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, सुमिरय हनुमत बलबीर। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाय। उष्ण बार पास कर कोई, हृदय बंदे मास होय। जो यहाँ पर हनुमान चलेता, होय सिद्धिदा के गौरीता। तुलसीदास सदार तेरा, कीजनाथ हृदय महादेव। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, राम हरे राम 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 हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, राम हरे राम 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 हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप, राम लखन सीता सहिता, हृदय बसहो सुरभू। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। On this beautiful night, once more we have come together to join with the members of this home as we reflect and we think and we remember our beloved son. Every single day we live in the world, and while we are alive, every day while a child takes birth, every day people die. In our daily life, we have come to a point where some of us, we take life for granted. We take what we have for granted. We take the freedom of life for granted, what we have achieved and what we have accomplished. God has given us once more the freedom and the free will to move about in society as we please. He has not held us back when it comes to our conditions, but He has allowed us to make our own choices and our decisions when there is a need to make one. And according to the choices we make, then we create what we call the karmas, the good karmas and the bad karmas. When we do a good deed, we get blessings from it. And when we do a bad one, we pay the price for it. Tonight, as we dive into the golden pages of Ramayana, Ram Kshetramanas, we will join in Ayodhya Khan. And we also join in the holy text, the Garud Puran, where we speak of death. Because not many times we are reminded as to what happens when we die. Not many times we sit to think as to how important life is. We sit here and we enjoy the little things that we have and the fancy things that we have. And only in the spur of a moment, when we think of it, realize that we can lose everything with the snap of a finger. Then we stop to think, oh, I should have known. Or I should do better. Or I should live better. Or then we want to correct things in our lives. Yes, of course, it is better late than never. But why wait until a problem comes before we can change? Life is about change, and the only thing in the world that will never change is the universe itself. We must make change for things good to happen. As we begin our night in devotion, before we join in Garuda Puran and we join in Ramayana, we join in a chant to Shri Krishna. Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jai Girivardhari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunjavi Hari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunjavi Hari. For Lord Bhagavan Shri Krishna, we sing all together. Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunjali Hari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunjali Hari. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tiravana Sari Yamuna Tiravana Sari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunjali न तेरा बनकर जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंजवी हरि It is said on this night, as we are about to join firstly in the golden pages of the Garud Puran, it is said at one point in our lives, every one of us, we will have to leave this world. Adi Shankaracharya speaks of the first verse of a text that is called Bhaja Govindam, where he says that as soon as we are born, our days start counting down for when we will die. The moment we are born, a child is given the opportunity on the 6th day and on the 12th day, where a little ritual is performed, and that is what we call the Barahi and the Chatti, the 6th day and the 12 days, where the destiny of every one of us would have been written in our hands, on our forehead, and at the base of our feet. And from the moment you were born, your day and your last day would have been written as well, on your hand, your forehead, or beneath your feet. Now from birth until that final day, you would have been given the opportunity to do everything that you wanted to do in the correct way. And if by chance you were doing something and your conscience were to beat you, then you know that you would have been doing something wrong. So you pull back and refrain from doing it. There comes a day now where all of us, when we have to leave the world, we look back at everything that we have and we will take nothing with us. We hear it. We would have grown up hearing this song all the time. Aaye bhi akela, jaye bhi akela. दो दिन की जिंदगी है, दो दिन का मिला. We grow up hearing the funeral passing by, and when you hear the mic passing, you hear that song and you say, oh God, somebody died. If you hear the mic passing and you hear a different kind of song, you might think probably it's a function, it's a religious function, or maybe it's something else. But when you hear these songs, automatically the mind says somebody died. आए भी अकेला, जाए भी अकेला. दो दिन की जिंदगी है, दो दिन का मेला. We've come in the world by ourselves and we will leave by ourselves. We will have our best friends. We'll have our loved ones in our life. We will love our mother. We will love our father. We might be the best friend to our sister. We might be our best friend to our brother. Vice versa. But one day, even our best friend, we have to leave. Even the closest people to us, we will have to leave. And it is only a process that we just have to understand. Nobody could stop that. Today our mother sits here and she would look at the picture of her son and probably in her mind she would beg and wish to see him one more time. But it is only the process of God's will that we are here or we are not. Nobody could change that course of destiny. In understanding that, it is said a day will come where when we are about to depart, everything we do from birth until that present moment, we will either benefit from it or we will pay for it. How you live your life, so it tells how you will die. Do you know that? If you live a good life and you're about to die, some people, as we say, we go to sleep and we just die in our dreams and we die in our sleep, and we say it's one of the easiest ways of death. Or some people might sit down in prayer and right there in front of the altar they might die without any form of suffering or major suffering, that is. It is said when you live your life, how you live it, that is how you will die. If you live as a negative person, if you live by creating problems in your home, creating problems in your life, in your family circle, creating problems in your job or with your loved ones and your brothers and sisters, then your death will be one in which you will suffer. So it always pays off to live a good life and to do good things. Today, in Garuda Puran, it is said, Garuda, the bird, the vehicle of Lord Vishnu, he speaks to Lord Vishnu and he says, Prabhu, can you please enlighten me and can you tell me about death and about the final moments of death? Can you tell me what is right and what is wrong? Because when somebody dies, everybody always have a conflict and a fight. You know what he doing is right and what she's doing is wrong. When someone dies, what is the format in which we carry about ourselves to discard of the body? We have what you call different sanskars of life. And the last sanskar that is performed for anybody, it is called the Antyeshti sanskar. Very good, Dad. Antyeshti, which means the final rites of an individual. It is just like the steps of doing a prayer and a puja. Anybody could pray, anybody could do puja in your home, but there are formats that you have to go about when you want to do a proper prayer. When you're doing worship and you're doing a puja in your house, the Pandit comes and he performs what you call Shora Upachar, which means a proper 16-step format of prayers and worship that has been laid down by the rules of Manusmriti and the great saints of the universe. In the same way, when someone dies, there are rules that are placed down in discarding the body. The soul is no longer in the body, but there is a proper way of discarding the body, and we will learn about it tonight. But while we understand that, Garuda speaks to his Lord, and he says, Prabhu, please tell me, how is it that people undergo the pain of the world and suffering of the world? How do they go by living after death, after the loss of their loved one? And please tell me, Lord, what is to be done the right way for loved ones? And when Prabhu Vishnu Bhagwan speaks, first he says that he wants the world to know, and he wants all of us to know, that life can be taken away from us like this snap of a finger. You could be the most healthiest person today, right now. And if God decides with His will to snap that finger and make you fall down right there, maar gaya in Hindi says, that's it. You will leave everything behind, no matter what you have. You will leave every single thing behind. And when God calls you, you will have to go. You can have the best vehicle. You can have the best house. You can have a big bank account. You can have the best of jewelry and clothing and everything. And you can go back to your home tonight. After you have this realization tonight, go back to your home and just stand up in front of your room for 5 minutes and look at everything that you have. Take a moment and just stand up in front of your house and look at everything that you have. This is a wake-up moment tonight. When we go Yajna and we go Ramayana Yajna, we enjoy the satsang and we feel the bliss of God. Tonight, I want everybody to have a different awakening. Take, for example, you're sitting here. Just look at everything you see. You see me sitting here. You see the microphone. You see the book. You see the harmonium. You see the wall. You see the gates. You see the house. You see the burglar proof. You see a tent. You see everything, vehicle and house. And all of this that you love and you hold on to and you fight for, if God says 5 minutes from now, you will close your eyes forever, nothing matters to you. Even your most treasured moment, you might have a gift hiding under a box under the bed and nobody knows about it. Well, somebody will find it and they will wonder what was it doing there, because you won't be able to tell if you leave this world. Your greatest secrets will disappear. Your most powerful moments will disappear. What you cherish the most, what you love the most, the people you love the most, the people you hold on to the most, when you close your eyes, it means nothing. Nothing in the world. All that matters now is you and how you would have lived your life for you to live. Tonight, we begin with the beautiful bhajan. It goes like this. बहुत दिनों के साथिया जुदा होंगे, गुमसुमा करियो में आंसू आ रही. Sometimes it is good to get a wake-up call. Because, you know, have you ever heard the older people say you mustn't laugh too much, because after too much laughter is what? Is cry and tears. Now you could have everything tonight. There are many people locked on in our Facebook tonight, around the world, internationally, locally. You could be locked on tonight and you could have everything. You could be sitting here. Somebody might be sitting in their car somewhere. Somebody may be sitting in their nice, beautiful home on their couch and they're probably looking at us on TV right now. Probably in a nice big screen. You could have everything to the best of your ability. But tonight, while you enjoy the best of the world, take a moment to think about you. Life is short. Some people roam around as though life will be forever. Some people live life as though, you know what? Forget about it. Later I will do this. Later in life I will do that. Later in life I will change. Later in life I will get what I wanted to get. Or I will do what I wanted to do. Do you know if you'll be here for later? Some people need this wake-up call to realize. They say only when death happens in your home and your circle, then you'll realize that nobody could tell you about it. When you hear a death in the village and people go to that home, they say, you know what, don't worry, but I understand the loss, everything will be alright. Everything will be good. I'm sure, Mom, how many people probably came and held you and say, Mom, don't worry, everything will be okay. But nobody understands when it happens in your own home. When you lose somebody in your own house, then you realize that no matter how much people tell you it's okay, it is never going to be okay. You have lost a part of your life when you lose someone. Bhajan goes like this. आज सुनो हम गीत विदा का गा रहे दूध किया रे पंछी बिछुरे जा रहे बहुत दिनों के साथिया जुदा होंगे You have the hands now. You don't know when you'll be able to clap again. You have the lips now. You don't know when you'll be able to sing again. You have the avaz, the voice. Use it tonight. Bolo. कोई मत पूछो कौन है ये क्यों रोते हैं इस जग में ऐसी भी आवाज़ें होती हैं लूट गई फिर भी दिल का डर छुपा रहे Govinda, Hare Murari, He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Shivrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. It is said that while life is short in the world, in the Garu Puran says, on that particular day, on that auspicious day, when I say auspicious, the day in which we take birth in the world, people celebrate, not so? We say a child has taken birth and we have a big celebration, that child has taken birth. Thank you, Lord, for life. But you know what? In the skies, when somebody leaves, that's also a celebration. When somebody dies, they are celebrating that they would have lived for a period of time in the world, and thank you, Lord, that I'm out of the world of trouble. We may think that we are happy now. We may think because I have things going and things are probably okay and I have enough probably money or a nice house or a nice car. Maybe life is going well, so we think we are happy. But besides having all the physicalities of the world, how many people's minds are bothered by stress and temptations and hurt and miseries and distress? You can have everything in the world, and if you can't have a peace of mind, you live in misery. You live in a mess, as we were to say. Today, Garuda Puran says that when the soul is about to leave on that particular day, it is an auspicious day because the soul would have waited. We might think, you know what, I don't want to die. But that soul would have been waiting inside there just to get out of this world. As we say, the world we live in has 4 steps and 4 phases. Birth, disease, old age, death. We will take birth, we will get sick, we won't be strong and healthy every day. We will become old, and one day gradually we will die. The 4 stages and the steps of life. But while we have these 4 steps, on that day in which the soul is about to leave the body, who wants to leave this body? If the God of death walk in here right now and say, who ready to die? Let me go. Who ready to go? Let me see. Show hands. Who ready to go? One person out there, everybody. How many people scared to go? Put up your hands. So why do they don't want to go? How many people are scared to die? Don't afraid. Because if you're playing brave and he passed by tonight, well, I don't know. How many people are confident that if God of death comes, well, if I have to go, I have to go? Yeah. 2 people out of 500 people. When the moment comes and you have to go, you have to go. But do you have fear to die? There are children today, or there are young people today, maybe a child at the age of 5 or 6 or 7. If they see something that they're scared of, they're scared to die. If something brings fear into your life, you feel as though you might die. If probably you see an animal, maybe you see a snake, how you feel? You don't even have to see it. If you watch a nice horror, how do you feel? Like you're gonna die. And in that moment, you're scared. Many things in the world will bring about fear. When fear comes in your life, do you feel, or do you feel now, a fear from death itself? Some people may, and some people may not. When time comes and you're about to leave the world, when time comes and you're about to die, it is said the God of death, He will send His messengers, and His messengers are called the Yamduts. And they will then look for the soul in which they are about to take. And when they see that individual, whether they are sleeping, whether they are awake, whether you are driving, whether you are standing, wherever you may be, it is said the God of death will come and He will look at you. And sometimes that person can't speak out, but they will be able to see now the shadows of the God of death. And they will know that they are scared. But as we say, some people say their tongue becomes tied, that they can't tell you. They can't say to a friend or a loved one or a mother or a father that they're about to leave this world. They have to just look at everything in front of them, and they must prepare now mentally to leave this body. While they would look at the God of death will come, and He will then look at the person in the body, and He will say, you, it is time to come. Come out of the body now. But who wants to leave this body? Nobody wants to leave. Everybody wants to hold on because we are scared to part with this body. And when Gandarva realizes that you don't want to go, he will take a noose and he will throw it at you. Not the physical body, but that noose will be thrown into your spiritual consciousness and he will start to drag the soul out of the body. And while the soul will now leave by force, the first thing that the soul will see as soon as he pops out of the body is total darkness everywhere. And when he sees darkness, he becomes very scared. He doesn't want to leave and he begs to go back into the body. And the God of that will say, now is your time. You have had your chance and you cannot go back now into the body. It is said like changing clothing. This body, my friends, it allows his soul to leave. A bhajan goes like this. He Pavana Parameshwar Meri, He Pavana Parameshwar Meri, Man hi mana sharmao, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे जय गोविंदा मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे, द्वार तुम्हारे आओ, द्वार तुम्हारे आओ, हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरी, मन ही मन शर्माओ, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे। तूने मुझको जग में भेजा, निर्मल कर दे काया, आकर के संसार में मैंने इसको दाग लगाया, जन्म जन्म की मैली चादर कैसे दाग छुड़ाओ, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे। निर्मल वाणी पाकर तुझसे नाम न तेरा गाया, नैन मूंद कर हे परमेश्वर, कभी न तुझको जाया, मन वीणा की तारे तूने, अब क्या गीत सुनाओ, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे। मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे, द्वार तुम्हारी आओ, द्वार तुम्हारी आओ, मन ही मन शर्मा हो मैली चादर और के कैसे. One of the most beautiful examples I always give everybody. If I were to tell you where you're sitting right now, to get up and go outside for 5 minutes and come back and sit down, tell me if it is that you will come back and sit down exactly where you are. It is one of the most relevant examples I can give. If I tell you go outside for 5 minutes and come back and sit down, you will sit down exactly where you are, not so? And if somebody sits in your seat, what you'll tell them? You'll tell them? Yeah, I'm my seat, boy, get up. How long have you been sitting on that seat? Not for long. But yet the mind has already adjusted to know that I was sitting here, so that is my seat. In the midst of half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour, you're sitting there and the mind tells you that is mine, that is why otherwise you're ready to fight. Can you imagine a soul that is in this body for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years? Can you imagine the soul that is in this body and the God of that comes and says time to get up? The soul doesn't want to let go. You see, them don't want to let go too. The soul doesn't want to let go. The soul wants to hold on for eternity. And even when he got up that says time to go, the soul begs to stay right there. The God of death in turn has to use extreme measures and he has to tie a noose and drag out the soul, otherwise the soul won't leave. He has to now allow the soul to know your time is up, you need to get out, and if he doesn't want to get out, God of death, he then puts more measures into the process because he has to take the soul out. And as soon as the soul comes out, Garud Puran says, as soon as somebody dies, the first thing you do is light a light by that place and that spot. If it means they would have died in the hospital, no problem. You light a light in your room, in the house, or the home in which that person lived. Because the moment the person dies and the soul leaves the body, all the soul would see is total darkness. And the soul now wants some form of light to see, otherwise he becomes scared. At that point, the family members will get the kalsa and they will put now the parai on top and they will set up a diya and they will light the diya so there's a light that will remain for the rest of the entire days until the shroud is complete. At that point, the family members will then prepare themselves because now we must perform the proper rites to discard of this body. And the moment now that they are preparing themselves, it is said the family members must start fasting in the appropriate way because they are about to do a funeral ceremony. A funeral ceremony is not any ceremony. It is like a yajna. It is said the funeral or the antyeshi sanskar, it is like a yajna that is about to be performed. So now the boys will take part in that ritual. They will fast as though they are fasting for yajna. Now, who is given the opportunity to be a part of the funeral ceremony? Sometimes in a home, there might just be one son. Or maybe there may be no children or no sons to the person who has departed. There might be brothers or maybe sisters. According to Garud Puran, it is said when a person dies, the first one who gets the opportunity to perform the final rites would be the son. If there's no son and there are daughters, the daughters are given the opportunity. If there are no daughters, now the siblings, maybe a brother or a sister, they are given the opportunity. We start with all the immediate family. If there's no brothers and no sisters, then a very close one, maybe a cousin, a first cousin, maybe a close relative, a close family member, they're given the opportunity. If there are no close family members and no loved ones, it is said we can go down now from the chain and we could go now to even the strangers and neighbor could take part. Probably neighbor could say, I know him really well, I knew him while he was alive, I want to be a part. A neighbor can do it. If a neighbor is not wanting to do it, then you can have a stranger who probably just knows him from the village. Maybe you can have somebody who just randomly knows the person. If a stranger is not there, nobody's even there, it is said even the Pundit can do it. So sometimes you hear when somebody dies, you see people fighting. No, he can't touch. No, this one can't come here. He doesn't stand up far. If he touch, something wrong will happen. It is not like that. Anybody who wants to be a part of the Shraddha can be a part. But bear in mind one of the best things in the world. When someone dies, an Antyeshi Sanskar is like a yajna. It is called a Pitri Yajna. While some people are running because it is death related, to those who take part, the benefits of that yajna is as though you would have done many yajnas and Devta yajnas. The benefit goes a long way because you are helping to uplift somebody's spirit and their soul while they would have died. When the part of the funeral is about to be performed, it is said on the day in which the person would have died, many people, they keep up the nights and they wait for the funeral day. To those who don't know, on the morning of the funeral, to the Shrotas who are about to take part, to the son who is about to be a part of this Antyeshi Sanskar, he must shave his head on the morning of the funeral because he's going to do a yajna. He's about to do a yajna which is now taking care of disposing of this body. He must shave his head, he must fast for the day, and he will then go about to perform the final rites of the individual. While he's preparing himself to perform the final rites, it is said the Pundit will come to the home and the rituals will be done accordingly. And while everything will be done in the most appropriate way, the body will then be prepared to leave after the offering of pindas. And the body will be prepared to leave. Sometimes it is said that when the body comes home, many people are fighting as to who should touch and who shouldn't touch and who can make an offering and who can't make an offering. That is the last time you're seeing that person's face. We must give everybody a chance to be a part. It is the last time you're being a part of the energy and the aura of that person because you'll never see that personality again ever. There's no personality that will come close. So while I'm saying this to you, think about the son who is left. Think about an uncle who died, an auntie who died, a mother or a father. But think about when your day comes when somebody in your life and in your home and in your circle will die. Then what will you do? Will you run from it? Do everything to the best of your ability. It is only through knowledge and wisdom we can understand what is right and what is wrong. And when the day comes, and when the funeral ceremony is about to be performed, we hear many things. The soul is simply waiting for an offering so that he can begin his journey. And in the meantime, we are fighting about the petty things as to who's right and who's wrong. Listen, in order to rise above this temptation, to gain this knowledge, say, Lord, give me the gyan and the knowledge in which I need. Hey Prabhu, Anandadata, Jnana humko dijiye. Hey Prabhu, Anandadata, Jnana humko. किसकी हम किसी से भूल कर भी ना करे। नील किसकी हम किसी से भूल कर भी ना करे। दिव्य जीवन हो हमारे, दिव्य जीवन हो हमारे, तेरा गाया करे हो प्रभु आनंद दाता, ज्ञान हमको दीजिए। हे प्रभु आनंद दाता, ज्ञान हमको दीजिए। हे प्रभु आनंद दाता, ज्ञान हमको दीजिए। दीर्घदायी दुर्गनों को दूर हमसे लीजिए। हे प्रभु आनंद दाता, ज्ञान हमको दीजिए। हे प्रभु आनंद दाता, ज्ञान हमको। It is said when the soul is about to leave that body on that particular day, the soul would have then feel the pain of the universe. It is said while the soul is leaving the body, the soul feels the pain of 100 scorpions stinging at the same time. Jai Bhagwan. When our red ants bite you, how does it feel? When our red ants bite you, we say, ow. When our bachak bite you, how you feel? Your ball hara. If one scorpion were to sting you, what will happen? If one scorpion after sting you, you say, oh God, I got dead. Imagine 100 stinging you at the same time. The soul or the body doesn't have time to acknowledge that amount of pain that is about to be inflicted. So the soul has to pop out. Just jump out of that body. Begging to go back in. But the God of death will not allow the soul to re-enter. On the day of the funeral ceremony, it is said that day the Pundit will allow the Shrota to then take 5 pieces of gold and place it on the different parts of the body. It is said the gold marks as that blockage for the way of entry back into the body. If by some means or some chance the soul tries to get back into the body, it is said the 5 pieces of gold are placed on the doorways of entry. The soul can exit from any point. It is said there are chakras from the head called the Brahmanda chakra, and coming straight down the body there are ways of exit that when somebody is about to die, the soul will leave. Have you ever seen somebody die and when they die, they die with the eyes open? When somebody dies with the eye open, what do I mean? You know what I mean? Those waiting to see me before they die. Sometimes you go in the hospital and you see somebody is about to die and they keep asking, where's my son? Is he coming? I want to see him. Tell him come fast. And you're calling on your phone and nobody's coming. Tell him wait, to hurry. I want to see him. And while he's trying to come, maybe the person died right there and they died with their eye open. And you know what they say? He was waiting to see his son. It is said the soul can leave from different parts of the body. When the eyes remain open, the soul would have left from this part, the eyes. Sometimes the mouth remains open when they die. You know what they say? He wanted to tell me something. In turn, no. It means the soul would have come out from the mouth. As long as the soul would have left the body from anywhere above the navel region above, it is said that soul would have lived a good life. And that soul would have then traveled to the heavenly abodes. But if the soul would have left from anywhere below the waist, there were no signs, chances are the soul will have a lot to pay for. Maybe that individual lived a bad life. When the soul leaves the body, there are different ways of exit. But if the soul has to ever enter back the body, there's only 5 doorways of entry. The eyes, the nostrils, or the mouth. So on the day of the funeral, the Pundit says, take a piece of gold, 5 pieces. Put 1 piece on each eye, put on each nostril, and put on top of the mouth. And the gold will act as a blockage to allow the soul to not enter back into the body. On that day, the soul or the body will be taken into the cremation site and it will be taken into the pyre. The soul will follow the body because the soul is attached. It is like the example that I gave with the chair. If you know when you get up, somebody going to take your chair, you go walk with your chair when you're moving. That's all. The soul will follow the body because the soul will wait for any chance and any opportunity to go back into the body. The soul will embrace that, so the soul will simply follow the body. But on the day of the funeral, when the body burns and there's no body anymore, where does the soul go? Where will it go? There's nobody to go back to, so the soul will go back to the house in which that person lived. The soul will come back to the home because the only thing that will connect now the soul with the earth is where he or she lived. That is why now, for the days up until the Bandara day, you will hear the Pundits telling you, do not pick up anything from the house and give it. Because if you pick up anything from the house and you give it, the soul is lurking around until the Bandara day is finished. The soul can see somebody pick up something and may not acknowledge who you are because he doesn't have a body to know who you really are. But he will see somebody taking something from the house and going with it. And just like he would have followed the body on the cremation day, he could follow you back to where you are taking whatever you took from the house. Because that is his belonging there. And if he follow you, you know what? You ever hear they say, Zombie Holio? Yeah. Trouble start Friday. It is said on that final day where the soul is about to leave and the soul is about to now exit, the body is destroyed. And while the body is disposed of, it is then now at that point, the soul will wait for every single day for the family members to make the offering of Tarupan and to make the offering of the Pinda. Do you know how many people, when their family die, they say, you know what, I'm not going to go through that. I will do everything on one day, and I'm not going to do Bandara and 6 months and 1 year, and you know, maybe 6 months and that is done. Or maybe just a 1 year, we don't need to do all of that. But you know something? When you're alive, you can think like that because you want to do the easiest way for you. But the soul, there's no easy way there. The soul needs certain requirements. And it is very important to perform your Shrad. It is very important to perform your 6 months. And it is very important to perform your 1 year. To those who won't be able to give back to the soul, it is said the soul suffers in turn. The soul cries out in the skies and in the heavens. And we don't know, we can't feel the pain of the soul because we are just living and saying, you know what, this is easy for me. I will leave out that part and I will leave out this part. But the soul is suffering. And we will have to pay the brunt of that one day. Because we say the curse or the shrap or the hurt of the ancestors will fall on our path. Sometimes when people are about to become married, you have what you call an ancestors puja. You want to tell the ancestors, bless me because I'm about to get married. But how can they bless you when you've hurt them and you never gave what you had to give? What goes around, comes around. You must do what you have to. When Pitripaksh comes around, remember your forefathers, your ancestors. Offer Tarpan. There are no limitations. Some people say he could do it and she can't do it and a girl can't touch hand. And everybody can do it. Anybody can do it. With your own hands, it connects you to your lineage and everybody can bless your own lineage. Nobody can just do it for you. What you can do for yourself, you gain the benefit of all of it. Can anybody eat and your belly go full? You have to do for you. What you do, you get. The good you do is the blessings you get. The bad you do is the karma you will face. Take a moment and ask the people in your life. I'm sure everybody have a best friend and a best person in your life and somebody you consider the most. Ask your best friend, if you love me so much, when I die, will you take my karma for me? Will you pay for my sins for me? And see if your best friend, the best person in the world will ever help you. Everybody will stand on your own grounds. आया समय बराबे दंगा, आज आदमी बना लफंगा, कहीं पे झगड़ा कहीं पे दंगा, नाच रहा न रहो कर नंगा, चल और कपट के हाथों के अपना बीच रहा ये मान, कितना बदल गया इंसान, कितना बदल गया इंसान। देख तेरे संसार की हालत, क्या हो गए भगवान, कितना बदल गया इंसान, कितना बदल गया इंसान। राम के भक्त रहीम के बंदे, रखते आज करीबत फंदे। कितने ये मक्कार अंधे, देख दिले इनकी भी धंधे। इन्हीं की काली कर दो तू से हुए मूर्ख महान, कितना बदल गया इंसान, कितना बदल गया इंसान। देख तेरे संसार की हालत, क्या हो गए भगवान, कितना बदल गया इंसान, कितना बदल गया इंसान। आया समय बराबे दंगा, आज आदमी बना कंगा। कहीं पे झगड़ा कहीं पे दंगा, नाच रहा नर होकर नंगा। चल और कपट के हाथ पे अपना, बिच रहा ये माँ, कितना बदल गया इंसान, कितना बदल गया इंसान। देख तेरे संसार की हालत, क्या हो गए भगवान, कितना बदल गया इंसान, कितना बदल गया इंसान। सूरज न बदला, चांद न बदला, ना बदला रे आसमान, कितना बदल गया इंसान, कितना बदल गया इंसान, कितना बदल गया इंसान, कितना बदल गया। It is said, when the day comes and his soul will then prepare to leave the body, on that day, the soul will wait and follow the body everywhere. And when the body is disposed of, the only thing that the soul can rely on is us. Do you know when somebody dies and the bandara is finished, the soul sometimes may be hungry, tired, thirsty, waiting for something to drink or waiting for the food to be offered. And when people don't give what they're supposed to give, the soul now stands there. The god of death will bind that soul and hold on to that soul, and his yamduts, his messengers, they will start to torture and to beat that soul, and they will ask the first thing, where are your loved ones now? How come they didn't do the prayers for you? How come they never did the shroud for you? How come they never did the bandara for you, or they never did the 6 months or the 1 year? Where are they now? You live for them, right? You live for people. You sacrifice and you live for the world, and you give back for everybody. And the day you die, who stands with you? Who gives back to you now? And his soul is tortured because the God of that reminds him, I didn't send you in the world to make friends. You made friends. Now where are they? You made companionship. Now where are they? And the soul cries out. It is said when the person leaves and is about to begin that journey in which he will travel for 1 year, the soul depends on the home and the family to make the offerings. It is very important, you see, we're here tonight. This is the 8th session, right? It is very important that every month, while the soul is have to travel for 1 year, every month the soul stops for one particular day. That is why we're here tonight. And when the soul stops, the soul is tired and hungry and thirsty. On this day in which his satsang is about to be performed, the family members must offer tarpan on a kush grass. They must offer a pinda. And in turn, the soul will partake of the pinda and also partake of the tarpan that is offered. And then after partaking and satsang is done tonight, Bhagwan says, time to continue again. You have a next month to go. Let's go. Can you think about the family? Because there are many people we know of. How many family members, after Bandara, they say, now we're done with that. That is it. Can you imagine every month the soul is stopping, and when the soul is tired and hungry and thirsty, God of that says, where your food? Where the pinda? Where your family? Where your loved ones? Well, you know what? I hope you learn now. And they torture the soul because you would have given an opportunity by God to live a good life so that people can remember you now when you've died. The soul will beg Prabhu, the soul will call out, Prabhu, I am seeing the God of death and I am suffering here. But God, why don't you help me? God, why don't you remove my troubles and why don't you save me? And the soul will see Bhagwan Shri Krishna. But you know what the Lord will say? You had your chance. He will remind you, remember the day when you sat down in the satsang? Remember when the Pundit said clap? What do you do? You fold your hand and you sit right there. Remember when you were in the satsang and you heard everybody was saying, sing for God, and you sat down and say, well, no, me, I'm not going to sing that. I feel ashamed. What would have happened then? God reminds you, remember the day I gave you health and strength to wake up and to walk and to go to the mandir? You wake up and what you say? Nah, not this week, next week. Remember when I gave you the strength and the ability and the opportunity, I placed a yajna right in your home, in your village, so that you can make the attempt and to go. And you say, you know what? Nah, leave that. God gives us moments to pray, to make the best of our lives. We put it aside. God gives us a home. God gives us money. God gives us wealth. God gives us prosperity. God gives us success. He gives us everything that we want and everything that we need in turn. And while God gives us that, God gives us this too. What do? Jai Bhagwan. You have faith and you pray. He gives you the opportunity every day to pray. And if you waste that opportunity, what will you do? God gives you money. We abuse it. If He takes it away from you, what will you say? How will you live? God gives you a nice car. If He takes it away from you, what will you say? God gives you a home. If He takes it away, what will you do? God gives you wealth. Sometimes you look at people suffering in the world and you say, thank God I have a little bit self, no? Do you appreciate it? If you appreciate it, it doesn't mean you will just share it. But if you appreciate it, thank God for it. Pray, sing. Don't feel shame when it comes to the Maker, to the one who has given you what you have. Glorify Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare, Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, what you have? You appreciate God. How do you appreciate God? Like this. Bolo, everybody. Bolo. Radhe. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It is said on that day, when the soul waits for us to make offerings and nobody does it, the soul pays a price and we too have to pay a price. The soul will then wait until the final moment will come and the shroud will be performed. To those who do not perform your final shroud and to those who simply live about your life and forget about the respect and the worship of the journey of that soul, one day your day will come. It says to those who give back to the ancestors and to the soul, what you give for yourself. If, for example, you did a Gita Path for the ancestors and one day when you died, nobody was there to do a Gita Path for you, you will get the same merits as though somebody did it because you did it for yourself. Once I went to do a puja for someone who was still in good health, and it was on that day where they were about to do Shri Krishna Puja, and we advised, okay, when you do Krishna Puja on this day, it was a Sunday, you do a Gita Path one time, and they said, Baba, we never hear about that before. I thought Gita Path is for only the dead. When you die, the Bhagavad Gita helps you to allow yourself to ease the sufferings of your journey. Why not give it when you're alive, with your own hands? Because when on that day comes, the Pandit tells you, hold the Bhagavad Gita in your hand, and he chants the mantras. He will do the Gita Path mantras, and he will tell you, say, Om Shri Krishna Arpanam. With your own hand, you gave that Gita, with the piece of gold on your inside. In that way, you would have then covered your tracks, as we say, when you're about to die. Even if people don't make the offering, you did it for yourself. Now you might hear me say, put the gold inside. Why? Why do you put the gold inside? Does anybody know here tonight? Yeah. The first thing they said, our piece of gold is for the Baba. And then they start to watch the Baba and see how gold he wearing and thing, and so you see what? It is said when the soul undergoes a journey, on the 6 months period, the soul makes a stop by the river called the Vaitarni Nadi. According to the life of the person, when they reach there, they have to cross that river. No matter how the river is, they have to cross it. But that river is thousands of miles wide and thousands of miles deep. You might think while you're alive, probably you could swim. When you die, you can't swim. You have to cross it, but you can't swim. It is said to the people who can't swim and they have to cross now, and no offering was done in order to cross, the god of death will tie a noose on your neck and he will drag you across this nadi, this river, for miles. You will suffer the consequences, and you will suffer as though you're about to die through drowning, but you can't die because you're already dead. So it's a suffering period for the entire journey until you come out. If you live a bad life, if you are a person who lived a negative life, where you fought everybody, where you did all the negative things in your life and you never take a moment to do good, then when you reach by the river will be filled with blood, filth, worms, mucus, dead bodies, negativity. You have to cross it. Now Bhagavan Shri Krishna Bhagavad Gita says, I will give you the three options to cross. First of all, he says if you offer a cow and dan, you know people do the cow dan. If you offer a cow and dan, you give that cow to the Brahmanas. When you die, a celestial cow will wait for you there. The celestial cow will be like Kamadhenu from our scriptures with the wings. And you will be able to sit on his back and you will fly across the Nadi. So you don't have to worry if the water dirty or if it's not dirty. You will get a ride across because you give a Gaudan. And then he says, second option now, if you've ever given a Bhagavad Gita in Dan, like we do the Gita Path, and you give a Bhagavad Gita to the Brahmanas, when you reach at that river, I will come with my golden chariot and take you across according to your karma. That is the most powerful part of the words there. I will take you in my golden chariot according to your karma. But then we know it in the world today. How many people of us could vouch to say, I only live good and I only do good and I have good karma? When you bad think somebody alone in your mind, you don't go down in the bad book already. Much less to say that I have good karmas and I will get a ride across. So he gives you the last option. If the cow can't take you, if Bhagavan Krishna can't take you, he says the Gaurav that has a brother who works on the shores of this Vaitarani Nadi and he works as a boatman. And he is willing to take you across, but not for free. He have a price. And his fee is gold. So you put a piece of gold in the Gita, you put it right there and you make the offering. It is not for the Baba. The Baba going to get it. But even the Pundits, when they get that piece of gold, they must utilize that gold well. It is not for fancy and to just make a chain or a ring. And no. They would have taken gold from a family member or a loved one or somebody who used it in prayer. And what must they do with it? They must take that gold and merge it together to create a murti of Shri Krishna and worship the murti. The more they pray to it, the more the souls become released. But the more they take it and use it for themselves, they are bounding themselves in misery. Because you are taking from every home that you take. So even we as the Pandits, when we get the gold, we can't use it. We have to use it now to build a murti so we could pray back to the murti, and in turn the souls become relieved of the distress. When we perform these offerings appropriately, souls can be happy, contented, but we must do our part for them to be happy. Finally tonight, it is said every soul will go through their trials and their tribulations. We've only touched the surface of what would happen to somebody when they die. We could do a whole yajna with this. And we could go in depth with so many little things that we must understand. But at the same time, we understand the basics. When someone dies, what you do, you light that deer. When you're about to perform the rituals, some of the things that will be done, how you can do it to the best of your ability. What will happen when you die? So don't do bad things, because when you die, you know what you have to pay for. Everybody will stand in their own bounds. Nobody can pay anything for you. And if you think that anybody, they're willing to, ask them and see. Nobody will be willing to pay your karma for you. Now tonight, while we're here, the soul now of our son will only wait for a moment to feel confidence in his heart. And how will he get the confidence? It is when we take part and when we sing and when we glorify God, the soul will be motivated to go on with this journey. So tonight, now at this time, let me invite all to stand. As we stand, I'm sure the family members have the arti. When we sing this arti song now, think of your loved ones. Think of those who've died. Think of the people you have who are alive. And give praises and thanks for them. Because we too one day will leave. जब चादू तरफ अंधियारा हो, आशा का धूर किनारा हो, और कोई न केवन हारा हो, फिर तो ही बेरा पार कर। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे। तू चाहे तो सब ऊंचा कर दे, विष को भी अमृत कर दे है। तू चाहे तो सब ऊंचा कर दे, विष को भी अमृत कर दे है। पूर्ण कर दे सबकी आशा, पूर्ण कर दे सबकी आशा, जो भी तेरा ध्यान धरे। जय कृष्ण हरे, श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे। जय कृष्ण हरे, श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे। श्रीमन्नारायण नारायण नारायण, 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 लक्ष्मीनारायण नारायण नारायण, लक्ष्मीनारायण नारायण नारायण। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। 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 वासुदेवाय वासुदेवाय वासुदेवाय। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव, त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव, त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव, त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव, त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, सत्य सनातन धर्म की